You know, exploring histories filled with legendary figures isn't just about the past. However, it's about tapping into living examples of what can be achieved, and that's probably incredibly motivating right there. Hello and welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving into the list of soccer players who left their mark on not just the field, but on the value of their lives. So come on, join us and let's explore these incredible stories together. 10. Elvir Baljic. Back in the days of 1999, Real Madrid went on a spending spree, throwing 15.6 million euros at Elvir Baljic, among others like Nicolas Anelka, Edwin Congo, and Jeremeni. But you know what's surprising? Baljic, the Bosnian player they signed, didn't make much of a splash in that iconic Real White Madrid shirt. After a promising start with a decent first match, Baljic's star quickly faded. It seems like he wasn't able to match the required level of skill and performance, and to make matters worse, he got hit with a long-term injury. His unfortunate for sure. 9. Eduardo da Silva. Da Silva's injuries were gut-wrenching. Certainly, it's one of the most horrifying scenes ever seen in soccer history. It was at Arsenal vs Birmingham match on February 23, 2008. Martin Taylor went in with the tackle and boom, Silva's left ankle was dislocated, and to make matters even worse, his left fibula was broken too. I mean, it's all about double setback for these injuries. Then, right at that moment, Silva was rushed to the hospital right away, and it felt like the entire football community collectively held their breath hoping for the best. 8. Harry Kewell. Harry Kewell's career is a bit of a what-if story. Looking back, he's probably content with how things panned out, but man, injuries threw a spanner in the works for what could have been an incredible and remarkable journey. I mean, just imagine the buzz when he switched from Leeds to Liverpool in 2003. The footballing world had its eyes glued on him. His time at Leeds was quite something. But then Liverpool happened. At the start, he was shining bright, but those darn injuries kept creeping in. It's like he spent more time on the treatment table than on the pitch during his 5-year stint at the club. Kewell had to hobble off in the first half, and Liverpool was training Milan 3-0. And guess what? Liverpool somehow pulled off a jaw-dropping comeback in the second half and won on penalties. But for Kewell, it must have been bittersweet. 7. Alan Smith. Here, the ex-Manchester United player went through his absolute worst nightmare back in February 2006, and it happened in a match against Liverpool, of all teams. Talk about tough luck. So there he was, trying to do things his way and block Arsenal Rise's free kick. Just routine football stuff. But then, out of nowhere, he takes a tumble, and the way he fell, oh man, it was just brutal. He ended up fracturing his legs and dislocating his ankle. You won't even imagine the pain and shock he must have felt at that moment. Indeed, this incident was a glaring reminder of just how quickly things can take a heartbreaking turn on the field. 6. João Ribeiro. Once Inter Milan had quite the vision by signing the trio of sizzling South American talents in 1995. At that time, the excitement is real. However, João Ribeiro had a buzz around him after snatching up the golden ball at the World Youth Championships, but his destiny decides something else for him. He was a guy who was supposed to be the most exciting of the bunch and didn't quite find a groove at Inter. It's like he barely got a chance to show what he was made of. And after a quick stint at Napoli, he must have been handed back to Brazil with a bit of bruised ego, you know? Sometimes the football world doesn't unfold the way you expect it to. 5. Michael Owen. Michael Owen had a great record of performances in soccer history, but at the same time, he became a little bit of a head-scratcher. Remember the buzz around him during the early days? As football evolved and injuries started taking their toll on his speed, it was like you could see the limitations in his game. As time went on, he became a kind of shadow of his former self, struggling to capture the same magic he had when he burst onto the scene. Shockingly, the reality did not match the initial hype. 4. Ibrahim Ba. Back in the early days of his French football journey, he was like lightning down that right touchline. I mean, the way he played, he had giant clubs across Europe sitting up and taking notice. And then the heartbreak, missing out on France's 1998 World Cup squad. Ouch, that had to hurt. And you could tell it knocked the wind out of his sails, and he never quite recovered from that blow. Even those lone spells at Perugia and Marseille couldn't reignite the fire in him. And then there was the short kick at Bolton. It felt like a more embarrassing footnote than anything helpful. Undoubtedly, it's a sad twist of fate. 3. Luke Nilis-B. It was September 9, 2000, and Aston Villa was facing off against Ipswich. Luke Nilis, the shining star of Aston Villa, had a heartbreaking turn of events. He collided with Richard Wright, Ipswich's goalkeeper, and that collision ended up fracturing his shin not just once but twice. Shockingly, it was like one of those agonizing moments where you just know something really bad has happened. 2. David Bentley. Back in the day, he was hailed as the next David Beckham for England's right midfield spot. Man, he had that sensational promise, but somewhere along the way, things just went a bit off track. Oh no. But then, you know how it goes, life throws you some curveballs. Bentley made this 16.5 million jump to Tottenham, and that's when things started to get a bit rocky. It's like he lost the impact he had at Blackburn. Maybe the stars just didn't align at the struggling London club, and when Harry Redknapp took the helm, well, Bentley's chances in the first team were reduced. And then came the string of not-so-exciting loan spells. It's like he was bouncing around trying to find his groove again, but it just wasn't clicking. And now, even though he's just 29, which in football years isn't old at all, that initial gloss of promise seems to have faded away. 1. Gaizka Mendieta. Gaizka Mendieta, that's a name that takes you back. Back in 2001, he was like the midfield superstar that everyone had their eyes on. When he made that switch from Valencia to the mega-rich Lazio, it was like the hottest commodity out there. So what happened? Well, he got loaned to Barcelona, where he played more of a supporting role. It's like he went from being the midfield maestro to a bit part player. And eventually, he kind of faded out of the spotlight, quietly spending his days at Middlesbrough. Thanks for taking the time to watch the entire video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel to stay connected with us.